Okay, fine.
You change from doubting yourself to getting super. Okay, Vinayak, we are live now. So hello everyone, and today, we wanted to do a mock interview. So Vinayak is already a prime student, right? So which is why I thought that it would be a little better for all of us as well if we are able to understand how the interview would be taken, right? So he doesn't know any questions that I'm going to ask. Also, Vinayak, just chill out. If you don't know
Yeah.
anything, right, just pretend that you are in the interview and then skip it, right? I also
Oh,
am going through your resume for the very first time. Okay,
okay.
so
Okay.
how we will do this is essentially I'll be just asking questions, and
Okay.
after that I'll give you feedback based upon your resume as well, and based upon your whatever your answers are, right? So
Okay.
just give me 1 second. I'll also share my screen so that other people can see the resume that you have. Okay, so Vinayak, perfect. Vinayak, just could you give me a little introduction of yours?
Yes, sir. Sir, I am myself Vinayak Sanadani. You can call me Vinayak. And I'm pursuing chemical engineering degree in Siddhartha Institute of Technology, Tumkur. And my family consists of four people: me, my brother, my father, and my mom. My father is a HOD of an engineering college, and my brother works in a metro. And my mom is a housewife. And my hobbies are whenever I usually find time, I do photography and I edit the photos to make it look proper. And I also do pencil sketching and I also read books sometimes. And well, I have worked on a project called worked on a mini project. We have
Okay, so Vinayak,
excuse me.
I think there's some issue with your internet. Maybe if you can just remove your video. So I'm fine with hearing your audio.
Okay, fine.
Okay, because initially your internet was fine, but after that, I think there was some issue. Okay. Yeah, Vinayak. So you were, the last that I heard was your brother works in Metro. Right.
Metro, yes, sir.
Can you begin after that?
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm the vice president of chemical engineering department. As well as I'm a group member of dramatic groups of participated in several mime and skit. And also being a non-CSE student, I have interest in C++ programming and coding sometimes. Even though I'm not a great coder, I'm an average level coder and I can code many programs. And I've worked on a mini project and a major project. My mini project is preparation characterization of a cornstarch-based shear thickening fluid and its application for the fabrication of impact-resistant clothing. And my major project is of development of lipid gels for a secreted telophase A2 responsive release of antifungal drugs, which is mostly related to chemical. It is not related as not much related to coding or IT streams. Well, that's my intro, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what you've mentioned here, from what I understand, is you are from chemical branch, and you yourself say that you are not that good with coding. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, that that okay, the coding may not be your strength. Uh, so why do you want to, let's say, join TCS or any other company as a
Yes.
developer?
Sir, ever since I'm from a chemical branch, I have not been to coding for 3 years. I have been learning coding from my class 10th. There was a computer science. I am an IC student and have learned how to code from my 10th class itself. And I'm little comfortable doing that work rather than doing a chemical any core company work.
Hmm.
And working in a TCS group is TCS company has been my dream because it is one of the it is a multinational company and second largest Indian company, and it has a good environmental where there is a lot of scope for the career growth for a freshers like us, and I want to pursue a career in IT sectors as I feel most interested in C++ rather than my chemical engineering core
Okay.
jobs.
So again, could you tell me what is the difference between abstraction and
Uh,
let's say just first tell me what is abstraction and
okay.
that's it.
So data abstraction is hiding of relevant information from the user and showing only the particular only the coding part of it. Like when we put a C out statement, it doesn't show what kind of code goes beyond it. We only get to know that if you put C out, it prints out the statement. So
Okay.
it is a hiding of information and showing only the required data.
Okay. And what's the difference between abstraction and encapsulation?
Okay. Encapsulation is a wrapping up of data into a single unit, while abstraction is hiding of data and showing just what is required.
But both of them are almost the same thing, right? Matlab, if let's say I'm doing abstraction, I'm also kind of doing encapsulation, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
why there are two different names for it? Okay.
Uh, I don't know.
Okay, so I'll tell you. So your definition was quite clear for both of them. Okay, what
Yes.
and again, what you need to do is the difference is almost very clear, but it would have had been a little easier with an example. Okay.
Okay.
So for example, take an example of anything like let's say Facebook, right? So abstraction is obviously, let's say you apply abstraction so that you hide all the things that is happening. So let's say username and password, if somebody is trying to log in, right? So
Yeah.
he does not need to see what is happening, what logic is being applied to verify, let's say username and password. All that he needs to get is, let's say, true and false value in terms of is the logging successful, yes or no. So that's an example of abstraction. So in that case, your definition would be a little more clear, right? So always follow up with an example. Again, encapsulation is capsuling related data. So for example, let's say I have 20,000 lines of code. Okay, so let's say if I let's say write username in line 23 and password and all of that in line 17,000, it would be very stupid for me to do it because both of these are interrelated data, right? So I will
Mm.
capsule both of them inside a function so that whenever somebody looks at that particular function, all that is happening is you are able to see it together. Okay.
Okay.
And with the help of functions and all of that, you are able to achieve both of them. Okay. So the main objective of encapsulation is for honestly for the programmer to see all the related data capsuled together, or related functions capsuled together. So you can do encapsulation by using a function also, let's say getter and setter, or you can do encapsulation by creating a class also. Okay, so again, that was not part of the interview, but I wanted to give a general feedback on it. Okay.
Okay.
In terms of again C++, can you give me an example of how would you apply inheritance? Let's say you are working for so give me one example of a real life scenario of how you will apply inheritance in a code.
Sir, inheritance. So for create inheritance is basically used when the properties of one class inherit the properties of another class, right?
Correct. So,
So
but in what case? Uh,
okay.
what is the industrial use case? So, give me an example of, let's say you are working for, let's say Asian Paints, right?
Mm.
And let's say you want to, again, which is a chemical based company. Let's say you
Mhm.
want to develop their website, okay, or anything. So in that case, can you give me one example of how you would use inheritance in a real time scenario? So you know the definition. I know that you know the definition, but
Yes, sir.
okay. So I'll tell you. So I understand that you know the definition, but what majorly I'm trying to understand here is you are a chemical student. So I'm trying to understand if you can if your creative thinking is good enough that you are able to apply coding logic in your branch itself. Okay. So for
Mm.
example, let's say in this case, and it's a standard example, and you can say anything related to it. So for let's say Asian Paint website is there, and there are, let's say, contractors who buy directly from Asian Paint websites for their shops, right?
Okay.
So
Mm.
in the case there are multiple users, right? So
Mm.
let's say somebody who's a contractor who buys from for their or wholesaler, right? Wholesaler who buys directly from the website, that is one user. The
Mm.
second
Mm.
user is a person who wants to just simply buy for his home, right? Now the
Mm.
third kind of user would be, let's say, somebody who's not even logged in on the website. Okay. So again,
Mm.
obviously, let's say when a contractor logs in, he will be able to see a different website that, okay, these many, let's say he let's say he has the ability to order 10,000 uh, yellow color paint boxes. Okay. And but let's
Yes.
say when a user logs in that case he has the ability of let's say not buying more than two boxes. Or let's say he will not see conferences. Let's say these contractors or these wholesalers may also have conferences information. Let's say Asian Paints is like, okay, every 2 months we will do some conference in some city, and all the wholesalers will come and discuss about what are the issues that they are facing, right? So in the case there are
Mm.
different users on the same website. So what you can do is you can create a class called as user, which will have, let's say, username, password, which will have, let's say, address and all of that information. And there would be another class that is, let's say, contractor, another class that is, let's say, customer. Now that customer and contractor class will inherit all the data from the user class, that is user, because everybody will have username and password, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes, sir.
But uniquely for, let's say, the contractor, he will have a different different kind of personal data as well, right? So for
Mm.
example, he will have history of past purchases. I think that would be common for it, but um, one example for that would be, let's say, he may also have subcontractors,
Okay.
right? But a customer will not have subcontractors. Okay.
Yes.
So in this case,
Yes.
all you need to define is what a real case scenario of what you will be taking from the previous inherited super class or parent class, and what would be unique properties. So again, it could be about anything. I could ask a mechanical student, let's say you are working for Maruti Suzuki. Give me an example, like as a mechanical year student or as a mechanical student, you will use inheritance. So again, it's always the same concept. You can use a website, you can use a program and tell the same thing, but it's again, I don't think there would be any difference in terms of, let's say, if I say a Maruti Suzuki website. So in that case, there would be these where are the cars sold? Showroom owners as a user, and then direct purchaser as the user, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you are, can you tell me how would are you aware a little bit about data structures?
Yes, sir. A little bit. I'm aware of OOPS concepts. A little bit of data structures.
You've not written, so actually, okay, I'll give feedback later. So data structures,
Okay.
because I was running out of things to ask, to be honest. Um, so can you tell me what is stacks and queues?
Uh, sir,
Okay.
in Stack, actually I've not studied data
No,
structure properly.
no problem.
I've only studied OOPS concept. Yeah.
Okay. So
I've, I
do you know about digital technologies?
Yes, sir.
What new technology?
IoT, ML.
ML. So
Huh.
can you tell me what is machine learning and how do you use it?
Yes, sir. Machine learning is feeding the data into the machine and letting the machine learn. There are three types of machine learning. One is supervised, one is unsupervised, and one is reinforced machine learning. There are a lot of applications that machine learning is being put into. There is Tesla cars where they're using for auto drive mode, and machine in supervised machine learning, the data which is being put into the machine is labeled. But for the unsupervised learning, the data that has been put is unlabeled. And for reinforced learning, there's an agent which is put into an environment, and then he has to learn according to the rewards that he gets. That's what the hello.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there. Can you can
Yes,
you can you can you tell me an example of how you can use machine learning as a chemical engineer? You're a
yes,
chemical engineer, right?
yes, sir. Sir, I don't know how far it might be happening, but what is the major point which I've done is that there's a fungal infection inside a eye that is called endophthalmitis, and the drug has to be deposited only for some period of time. Right, the drug will be released from the particular polymer which we are injecting into it. Only there is if there is an enzyme present in that particular fungal endophthalmitis. That is the fungi that is present in the eye.
So I'll tell you feedback here, Vinayak. So
Yes, sir.
actually, the way that you answered it, no, it seemed to me like you've mugged up it. Okay. And I was not able to. So you did not give me a context of, and also take a little thinking time. Okay. And give me an example and then explain. So, for example, let's say, sir, you want to. Uh,
Yes, sir.
I think maybe an easier example because I don't know anything about fungal infection and bio
Okay, okay.
and all of that would
Fine,
be a
fine.
little difficult.
Yes, machine learning can be used in drug delivery systems, sir, in controlled drug delivery system, where we can use a machine to get to know what amount of a drug can be injected into a body. If this if we can form a virtual, human body, and then form a virtual blood cells, blood vessels, and all, and then if we can get if we can know that what amount of a drug is injected, means how it might cure or not in that way.
Okay. So take a little. So I know this is a correct example, but take a
Yes,
little easier example because say what is happening because there are a few words that you use. Let's say using machine learning, you create artificial human body, and let's
yes.
say you create veins and all of that, right? That is
uh,
something that you said. Now
mm.
this stays in my mind, and I'm like, uh, honestly, you can't do that. You can't do that using
Yes,
machine.
sir. Yes, sir. It is very difficult to me.
Yeah,
But I thought it might be.
right.
Yes.
So I think maybe an easier example of this would be let's say let's say in a factory, right?
Mm.
Wherein based upon inputs like there's some boiler based upon the inputs of
Yes,
the
sir.
boiler like the
Mm.
temperature. Let's say you are making some chemical in it based
Yes,
upon
sir.
the concentration
Yes,
of
sir. It can be used in the factories also. We can get to know that at what distillation column the temperature is going wrong or not. It
it.
it might give us the information regarding that.
Right. So you can use machine learning by understanding all of these input data and
Yes,
to
sir.
predict some outcome. Let's say maybe the yield of uh, whatever is the yield of the chemical that is going to come, let's say after cooking for 3 hours or let's say 3 days or 4 days. Right.
Okay.
Maybe a little easier example that somebody who's not from chemical can understand. Okay. And also because since you are using a very difficult example, it also helps me to understand that okay this is something that you've mucked up and more or less what I'm trying to understand is a little bit of your creative thinking. Okay.
Okay.
uh Moving further in this case, can you give me an example of let's say your leadership qualities?
Yes, sir. Sir, being a class representative, I've always, being engaged with the teachers as well as with the students, where like there'll be a lot of dispute whenever there is anything that comes up, like in the test or quizzes. Some people might agree with this date, some people might agree with that date as well. We have to convince both of the groups and come into a decision. And as well as for coordinate for as a coordinator for the branch list of chemical engineering departments, then I have to play a very wide role because the strength of the chemical engineering students is very less, and the work that will be there for the branch fest will be lot. So the burden will be a lot, and uh, have to focus a lot on lot of streams like catering, reception, sponsorship, and staying of the guest and all. So
Okay.
I've been quite experienced in all of that stream.
One feedback here: do not use the
Yes.
class monitor thing.
Okay, okay.
Okay, don't use that. So essentially, it gives a little idea that okay, you are still stuck in school, sort of a thing. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
for the second one, it is fine. Again, it is something that you should be highlighting that okay, you were again use these words. Sir, I was the vice president of chemical engineering department, and then
Okay.
also pause, take pauses. You speak continuously. Okay. So from that, you try to help him understand what are the functions of yours, right? So for example, being a vice president of chemical engineering department, you had to, let's say, there were a frequent fests
Mm,
that you had to organize. In those
mm,
fests, let's say there were a lot of events, getting sponsorship,
mm,
arranging logistics. There are different, let's say, uh, chief guests and all of that are coming. In that case, you had to arrange accommodation, logistics, traveling of all of these people. Also, at the very same time, when you also have are part of college and your regular studies are also there, right?
mm,
So in that
mm.
case, I think that would be a little better uh, way of answering this particular thing.
Okay.
Um, then again, what can you also tell me? What are your strengths and weaknesses?
Sir, I believe I'm a smart worker, and I believe that I complete the work given on time, and I believe that I'm always on time. And the weakness is that I get a little bit nervous, but it's not like completely nervous, but it helps me be uh, well prepared before doing any job. Um, that's all.
Okay. Uh, okay. So in that case, after honestly, I personally do not ask HR based questions, but generally, you would be asked again. These were more or less HR based questions only. But let's say, do you know more about TCS? Do you know more about history? Can you tell me who's the CEO of TCS?
Rajesh Gopinathan.
Okay, so I'm not aware to be honest, but
Mhm. Yes.
I'll trust you onto it. Right, know a little bit about the CEO of TCS, the headquarters, the revenue, the total number of employee count, and all of that as well.
Okay.
So again, I'll open up my video here back. So Vinayak, personally, again, I'll tell you what were the issues that I think would be a little blocker for you, right? So
Yes, sir.
again, you're a chemical engineering student, right?
Yes.
So
Yes, sir.
first of all, that's a problem, but that may not be a problem if you are able to demonstrate a few things like coding, or even though you don't, you do things outside your normal work life or your normal college life, that is that okay, you do things to get to learn coding. So for example, you've not mentioned about any certifications, right? So I was not
Mhm.
able to understand why did not you, if you let's say want a job in TCS, right? I would want
Mhm.
to understand that okay, if you were aiming for TCS, you should ideally be having a little bit of certifications as well, right? Uh,
Mhm.
then I was only able to see C++ and C, right? Obviously, there are no questions to ask from C. There are very limited questions. After that, I was like, okay, I need a few topics because obviously I could not see any coding projects there, right? So I could not talk much about projects. So I was like, I need a few stuff from your resume to ask questions. So maybe knowing one more language would have given you 5 more minutes for technical part, right? So let's say if you would have mentioned Python,
Mhm.
or maybe if you would have mentioned Java, right? So what I'll recommend is Java would be a little difficult, to be honest. Don't study Java. But let's say I'll say start Python, because in that case I'll ask a few. So this is a mental strategy. So you give your introduction, you leave him at C++. So he'll definitely, and you're like, okay, sir, I know C++. Okay, and stop there. The first question that you will be asked would be C++. Let's say I give my introduction. I'm answer mostly I know C++. Stop. First
Mm.
question is going to be C++ question, 100%. This is again, have you watched this movie called as Inception?
Yes, sir.
You've incepted this idea in his mind directly because you've stopped there. Okay,
Okay.
so he's going to definitely ask that. But after
Mm.
asking a few C++ question, I want to move ahead further. And those polymorphism and inheritance, all of those are standard questions there, right?
Mm.
But when I scroll through your resume, no, I
Mm.
personally am not able to see anything else. I can obviously I as a technical person, maybe
Mm.
HR will ask questions about Photoshop or Excel.
Mm.
Obviously, they'll not ask about Excel, but maybe Photoshop. HR is like, okay, you love camera and all of that. Wouldn't want to have discussions of it, right? But let's say if there was Python mentioned, so I would have asked you basic questions about Python, not very advanced, because I know you are a chemical student. So, for example, questions like what is slicing in Python, what is uh, uh, dictionary and tuple in Python, right? So those are essentially questions like what is union in C. So the difficulty level of that question is almost very similar to what is dictionary in Python. So it's very easy question that you just have to answer. But then again, you'll be increasing your probability to get selected. If in case, let's say, if you knew one more language.
Okay.
So I personally felt I needed one more topic to talk to you about in terms of technical. Obviously, I can't ask you to write again. Maybe I will ask you to write a question of, let's say, palindrome of a number, and I'll ask you to share your screen. Right? I'm sure you would be able to do that. Right?
Yes.
So again, there's a section called as top 100 programs on Prepinsta. Make sure that you complete it. Those top 100 questions are the most asked questions in any given interview, right? So you have
Okay.
to think again. Let's say you are working 4 years in TCS. What are the most important programs that you will remember from the first year of your college? There are only 15, 20 programs
Mm.
like palindrome, recursion, uh, Fibonacci series, string reversal, bubble sort, and all of that. Right. So these are a few easy to things. Okay. So that's more or less. Do you have your interview date already?
Yes, sir. It is tomorrow. 12.
Okay. In that case, don't do Python.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sir, can I add data structures? Because I have a brief knowledge, but I knew what was stack, but I couldn't guess properly. I had a confusion between stack and queue.
no, don't. If you don't know what stack is, please do not mention data structures.
No, sir, I know actually, but I got confused immediately because I didn't have studied properly.
Again, it's a little risk. I generally do not suggest non CSIT people to mention data structures.
Okay.
Generally, I don't. Well, again, if you have confidence, then do.
Mm.
But data structures could be a little tricky for non CSIT people. Because again, let's say if I ask you to write the code of bubble sort right
Mm.
now, share your screen, write the code of bubble sort.
Mm.
So I'm not sure if you would be able to do that or not.
Okay.
Right. Talk about machine learning somewhere randomly. Okay. So let's say they are thinking. Uh, can you add machine learning somehow in your project? Somewhere in the resume. Just write one point. Attended machine learning webinar by XYZ
Yes, sir.
in achievements and activities, because then
Okay.
they ask you about machine learning. Again, lack of Python will not, or lack of one technical thing. So again, I'll see machine learning, I'll be like, okay, you've attended one conference, and I would want to talk to you for next 5 minutes about ML only.
Okay.
Okay. just say this, that okay, attended attended 1 day conference of machine learning by prep and stuff, maybe like that. Okay, and make it like
Yes.
the first second point of it. um Dramatics. So did you also mention dramatics club in your introduction?
Yes, sir. I did.
Okay.
Introduction? Yeah.
Okay, Vinayak, honestly, matlab, let's say, however TCS goes, no, obviously there are going to be a few more companies that will be coming again. You will be giving a few more exams later, AMCAT, COCIBS, and all of that. Learn Python. I'll say if you want to get placed, you have to get one more language.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Sure.
Matlab, I was running out of questions to ask, and that's a little difficult. And again, I am from computer science. So I obviously knew a lot of things, but I was like, I want you to get selected, but then I'm like, okay, what should I ask? I'm not getting it in my mind, right? So if you give me a little more points, I would be able to do that.
Okay, sir.
Okay, and so again, if you learn Python, then again, join a cheap course of 500, 600 bucks from anywhere from of machine learning, cover that 20, 25%. Okay.
Okay.
And then again, for today, study about ML again, and
Mm.
C and C++, both of them. So for example, things like so do you know what are storage classes?
Uh, are other libraries?
Storage
Library functions?
classes in C, for example, auto, extern, register, and all of these.
No, sir. I don't.
Uh, go back and study C. Just Google again. Just Google topmost interview questions asked. Do you know what is dangling pointer?
No, no, sir.
Just Google
Mm.
see interview questions, and then
Mm.
know the answer of top 50 of them. Actually, what happens is a lot of people who are from mechanical, let's say I'm working in TCS, but I'm a mechanical student, right? I want to
Mm.
ask questions from C, and I personally don't remember C because I work in testing, right? uh,
Mm.
what I'll also do is I will be taking your interview, and I'll be googling like what are the topmost questions. So generally this is what happens, that the first page that is on Google,
Mm.
I'll say 30% of the interviewers who are taking interview of TCS Google
Mm.
C questions for interviews or C++ questions for interviews. And if you know all of them,
Mm.
obviously you are selected because right, he's relying on a web page. Okay. So again, these auto, extern, register, these are basic things of C. Dangling pointer, very basic question. I'll ask, do you know the difference between interpreter and compiler?
Yes, sir.
Uh, so I'll agree that you know. So just Google about that, you'll understand more.
Mm.
Okay. And don't get a little demotivated. Play to your strengths, to be honest. Right.
Mm.
So, for example, let's say you did not know all of these questions, but I never came to it when I was taking your interview, because immediately somehow you were able to transfer me directly to C++.
Okay.
Okay. So your strategy should be, I should be able to transfer directly from C to C++ because you knew C++,
Mm.
and you were able to answer all the HR based questions correctly. And I was impressed with that. Again, only thing that's stopping me is one more language. Okay.
Okay.
So hello Vinayak, all the best. Do let us know if you get selected, and I'm really sorry if it's better that you know a few things that you should do today than rather knowing them tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you, Vinayak. All the
Thank you.
best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And you can leave also. Okay,
Oh,
I just would want to chat with the other people.
okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, register auto extern. We love you, Prep Insta. All the best. So again, so I'm sure Vinayak opens up his phone, and he may continue to read all of this bit as well. So again, as you saw, again, he was a non-CSIT student. A lot of you are non-CSIT, but my major concern was that okay, even though he's given a chance to apply in TCS, right? I'm still looking for coders. I was trying to help him by asking the most easiest questions that I knew, right? So I was not asking difficult questions like 2D matrices or let's say trees, graphs, and all of that. I was asking the first question that comes into mind from C++. I was kind of asking all of those questions, right? Uh, so in the case, what so happens here is uh, I was running out, so I wanted him to get selected. And also, whenever there's an interviewer, right? He wants you to get selected because उसके बाप का क्या जा रहा है यार TCS select कर रही है. He's like yes, or he's like okay, there to give you marks. But there's an HR who's sitting and who's able to understand if he answered right or not, right? So again, I will ask you easy questions, but you have to answer them. But I was running out of a few things because again, I could not see any projects, I could not see any certifications. So there's only one thing that was lacking was a new language. Let's say I asked about C++, I asked a little bit about C. Now, after that, what next? I can't ask DBMS. I can't ask SDLC, obviously. I know that if I'll ask data structures, it would be very difficult for him. And because I don't know if he knows it or not, and I want him to get selected. And data structures is generally not the strength of non CSIT people. So I personally think if he adds Python somehow, let's say in further interviews for different companies, he surely have a chance because his communication skills were really good. His communication skills were really good. Again, maybe he was a little nervous because coming live on YouTube is needs more courage than sitting in the interview, to be honest. uh, okay, also, if you've attended TCS interview, just I'll write an email, or let's say what we are doing is in fact, let me share all of this to you. So we are paying you guys uh, if you share your interview experience with him. So again, his interview is tomorrow, but then again, if you've gotten selected in, let's say, Cisco, Microsoft, ZS, Mu Sigma, PayPal, TCS, Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, if you've gotten selected or let's say given the interview for all of these companies and have not gotten selected, make sure that you email us. Adil will also type that in the chat section. And we will be paying you a good amount, right? So the email ID is shivi@prepinsta.com. Okay. So now what are we paying? So basically we are paying $1,000. If let's say it's a company like TCS, Infosys, and again via Amazon gift card or Google Pay, again we'll take like a 20 minutes time of yours. We'll not be uploading that particular video on YouTube. It'll be like internal course that we have. TCS, Infosys, Mindtree, and all of those service-based companies. 1,500 for mine. Let's say a package that is between 5 to 7. Let's say ZS, Mu Sigma, Deloitte, and all of them. And again, 3,000 is what we are paying. Again, if you cleared for let's say Cisco or Zomato, let's say Big Rock and all of these, right? So again, contact us on shivi@prepinsta.com. We are collecting interview experiences for our internal Prime Video courses. This would not be uploaded on YouTube as of now, so don't worry. Okay, so also it'll take us a little time because hundreds of students would have mailed us, so we'll take it one by one. Being again, so again, if you want, so we have started the mock interviews from today. So today was the first interview. Now again, will not come live on YouTube for everybody. But from tomorrow, we will be doing like 4 or 5 interviews on Zoom for our internal TCS and Royal Pass and interview course students. So in this particular case, uh, if you want to join, or again you will also get the chance for interview prep, mock interviews. So again, the link for the courses in is in the description below. What do you get in the basic courses? C++, data structures, Python, and all of these courses, so that you can get prepared for the interview a little better with certifications in all of them. And in the pro course, everything that we give you in the basic one. Apart from that, we will be taking your mock interview. So just like how I took his mock interview, there are multiple HRs of different companies who are taking the mock interviews. For some people, I would be taking the mock interviews as much as I can, right? So again, you join the courses. The link is again in the description of this video. The results are almost out. Maybe I'll say 1 or 2 days. uh, if you've not received the email from TCS till now, uh, I'll say the chances are really less. Yes, people are still receiving emails, but I think in the next 2 or 3 days they'll stop receiving emails. Right. So it's my gut feeling. Again, this is not something that I've confirmed, but yes, the number of people receiving emails have every day have gotten down. So again, the interview is depends. Again, the interviews will keep on going for the next 1.5 months. So that's one more thing. Okay, so thank you guys. Join the interview preparation course. Link is again in the description of this video. Or the feedback, personal feedback for your current thing, will give you again. So once you attend the interview, I know. So let's say when I used to attend interviews, I was like, oh, that was so easy. Uh, I just had to realize what my strengths and weaknesses are, right? So I don't want that, okay, you'll give your interview and then you realize it, because then you've already lost the chance of getting a job, right? So it should be a little better that, okay, you give the mock interview with us, and then you will be already. So again, Vinayak now knows what his strengths and weaknesses are, even though there are some issues, but he knows and he may be able to work on them today. Right. So it's different for different person. Again, I'll come live for another person from a different branch. You'll see the interview is almost going in a different way. Right. So I don't have a set of questions that I want to ask. It's a conversation, and then based upon the cues or based upon the inception that you are able to do in my mind, I'm asking questions. Okay. So thank you guys again. Mail is here for Shivi again. Also, one more thing is, if your friends are placed, right? So let's say if there's some friend of yours, but you're not placed, ask them to do it. What you can do is, we make sure that he or she does not watch this video. So out of, let's say, this 3,000, we'll give you 50% of the amount, and we'll tell them that, okay, it's only 1,500. So you get 1,500, he gets 1,500, right? Or you get the whole thing if he is ready to do it for completely free, right? Make sure that he does not watch this video at least. So again, who doesn't want 3,000 or 500 or free money for 30 minutes interview? So guys, thank you, uh, and I'll see you up ahead tomorrow. Bye bye.